What's going on, guys? Today has been such an incredible day. I finally got this acoustic guitar instrument out for Audio Ollie. I took a day off after what seems like months and months of continuous hard work. But probably the most exciting thing that's happened is I finally reached 100 subscribers. Yes. I know 100 is not a massive number by today's social media standards, but for me, if I sit and consider the fact that 100 of you guys are virtually sitting in my studio listening to the things I have to say and tolerating my extremely goofy behavior, it's kind of mind-blowing, and honestly, it's a really humbling thing to think about. And I've so enjoyed connecting with some of you guys personally and hearing your music. And I'm just so looking forward to the future. I think there's some great things to come, and I've got something really exciting in the works for you guys, which I'm going to reveal in next week's video. But I just wanted to do something to kind of give something back to you all. So thank you for following me up to this point. I hope you stay along for the ride. And now that I'm kind of cooling off for a couple days after this big project, I'm going to spend some time outside, and one of my favorite things to do is go for a motorcycle ride. So why don't you guys come along and we'll just hang out for a while. Let's do it. All right, guys, we are on the road. I honestly can't think of a better thing to do than get out on a motorcycle after I've been working for a long time. There's just something about it. It's freeing, pulls you out of your head because you kind of got to focus on what you're doing at all times to avoid dying. And I don't know, it's been great for me in the past, especially if I've struggled with, writer's block or just feeling like I get stuck on my work or my music. Coming out and getting on the bike always seems to help me kind of rebalance, and also just kind of gives me some inspiration. Driving around randomly, seeing new things, just living life, guys. That's what inspires the musical ideas. So remember to make time to get the heck out of the studio at the same time. So I was actually on Facebook the other day, and composer Thomas Bergeson made some post, and he shared an article about John Williams, kind of discussing his career and how much he's worked and how there's this particular all or nothing aspect to being a composer. And, he was mentioning that at certain times it's even to the detriment or expense of personal relationships or even his family life, because you kind of carry this passion and obsession with you, way beyond the studio. Even when you're in bed and at the middle of the night at 1 a.m., you're still thinking about orchestration or production. And I think all of us composers can relate to that. But the question in mind, and I think the interesting part of the thread that Thomas started was, people kind of discussing whether or not this is something that's good or not, because I think we could all agree that if you end up doing something to the detriment of your family, that's not exactly a good thing, right? And I think in Western culture in particular, we have a certain way of glorifying work, hard work, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think perhaps we may romanticize it too much. And while I personally agree that working hard is desirable and honorable and so forth, I personally have found that as much balance as I can get in my life, the more happy I ultimately am. And whether that means I may not end up being the very best composer I can be, I've kind of resigned myself to accepting that. And I don't think that's necessarily the case, But, you know, I've always thought to myself, if it takes me until I'm 85 years old and barely able to get around anymore to do what I really want to do musically or as an artist, I'm okay with that. You know, I think the older I've gotten, the more I've become okay with slow and steady progress. When I was 20 or so, you know, I wanted things right away. I wanted to see serious results really quickly, but that's not realistic. You know, you can only work so hard and put in so many hours. You can't really force things to happen. You have to allow time to unfold. And I think the impatience I had when I was younger actually harmed me, because, you know, instead of enjoying the slow process, I was just getting frustrated all the time that I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. And it made me feel, you know, demotivated and burned out. And honestly, I've gone a pretty long period of time not composing because of it. And that's not good, obviously. You're not going to progress anywhere if you work so hard to the extent that you stop altogether. And so I really think that everyone's just got to figure out what works for them personally. And remember that everyone's different, because one guy can learn and achieve artistic greatness in a much shorter period of time than the next. You know, the next guy may have to work 10 times as hard, but if he's dedicated enough, he can get pretty far. And maybe, you know, there's something to be said about the fact that some people just won't achieve the same level of compositional genius as John Williams, because that could be something that is gifted. You know, he has a gift. You may be able to work your entire life for 24 hours a day and never be John Williams. And I think people need to accept that, remove the ego a little bit, and carry on, but enjoy learning. Don't be so obsessed with the final goal. I was watching this video with Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, and he was doing a lecture basically explaining to people the value of entrepreneurship and why wealth is a good thing. And he was kind of explaining that wealth and owning your own business is ultimate freedom, you know, has led to ultimate freedom. He's not tied down to a job. He doesn't have a boss. He's got so much money, he doesn't know what to do with it all. And for him, that means ultimate freedom as a person. And initially, I, you know, agreed with that. And of course, you have a ton of money, you can do a lot more things than perhaps you can do if you don't. But something I thought was really interesting is this guy in the audience, or maybe it was the guy who was interviewing him, I can't remember, asked him, you know, the amount of work that you're describing that you have to do to get to where you are, to have this freedom, is so excessive that in a sense you're not really free, because you are a slave to your own business. If you're working 20 hours a day to achieve this level, are you really free? And it's something I've thought about a lot, because if you don't have the time to even use your wealth or whatever it is that you're supposedly gaining by working harder than everyone else, you know, this is the thing, you got to work harder than the next guy, then what's the point? You know, what's the point? And does wealth really bring all that much value to your life at the end of the day anyway? I mean, freedom, sure, you can buy whatever you want, you can travel when you have time because you're working so much, but isn't there more to life than selfish pursuits. I mean, I suppose you could take your money and do some great things with it. You know, you could provide opportunities for other people, and you know, one of the good things about business and capitalism is that you're able to provide jobs for other people, and I think that's very beneficial. But can't you also achieve similar value in your life without money? You know, you can provide service to other people, you can teach them, you can help them. And I guess the point I'm getting at is, in my mind, you can achieve the same satisfying, value-giving, happy life without money and without working excessively. And as far as artistic goals go, like I said, I think so many people get caught up in achieving these goals so early in life. But what's wrong with slowly growing to those goals and getting to them later in life? You know, someone like John Williams or Hans Zimmer or maybe even Bergeson. And I say this not as a insult, or really, you know, it's not even my place to be commenting on these composers who are much better than I am, you know, on their level of craft and whatnot. But I've noticed from my personal view that I actually tend to prefer the work that some of these guys have accomplished pretty early in life, you know, early 30s, 40s, 50s. They're only halfway through their lives at best, and to me have accomplished some of their best work. So it's like if they had dialed back a little bit as far as their workload goes and achieved those same musical goals, but maybe just a little bit later in life, could they have had more balance and ultimately had more happiness? I don't know. It's just something worth contemplating, but maybe it doesn't work that way, because the artist's curse is kind of the obsessive nature of it all. So maybe it's all or nothing. You kind of got to hop in and have it be all-consuming, or you never get there at all. But just something I've been thinking about, because I think a lot of composers may get this anxiety that they're not doing enough, or they're not achieving enough quickly enough, and can be working harder, but it's really easy to get into a rut with that, where it ultimately takes away from your work and your mental health. And so again, I would just say, enjoy the damn journey. I'm far from being a highly successful person, but it's taken me a long time to get to where I am. And where I am now is pretty good. You know, I'm not rich, but I am rich in what I do have, which is a beautiful family, enough income to live comfortably and without anxiety. And I get to do stuff like this, ride on my motorcycle, create music, and enjoy my life. And I look forward to everything that's coming next. So there's my rant on that. So something that crossed my mind after I got the acoustic guitar out, and I thought was really cool, was the fact that really anyone could have made this product. You know, I borrowed my mom's old Martin acoustic guitar, which I actually learned to play on when I was quite young, and have used in a lot of music, and recorded it with one mic in my house, you know, set up acoustic panels to get it sounding good. But really, it was such a low budget indie type of product, but it's become, in the last couple days alone, one of our highest performing releases yet. You know, this thing cost, with all the programming and everything combined, under $5,000. So it was cool on two aspects. One, I thought it was nice that I could kind of immortalize the acoustic guitar, which I learned on. I think that's neat to think that hundreds of other composers might use it in their work, and it's kind of stuck in digital form forever. But the thing that I thought was even more cool was this idea that anyone could have really done it. And yeah, there's a lot going on with the interface and that kind of stuff, but from a basic sampling perspective, anyone could have done it. And I really want to encourage people to get into sampling, because you learn a lot about production, you learn a lot about engineering, and you learn a lot about business if you decide to make that commitment. And a business where you're selling product to thousands of people can bring you a kind of financial stability which makes the whole composing career much less risky. So there's that. Cool little country town for you. This is what Illinois looks like, everyone. It's not so bad. I kind of like it. A little loop. All right. On the road again. What do you guys like to do when you're not in the studio? What helps you get out of your head? Leave it in the comments. Also, if any of you guys are in the St. Louis area, because I'm right out of St. Louis, send me a message, because I'd love to meet up with you. I don't know very many composers in the area. It's kind of lacking in composers. So I'd love to meet you in person. It'd be cool to do like a meetup or something like that if there's enough guys we could get together. Guys, it's been awesome hanging with you today. Hope you enjoyed coming on this little motorcycle ride. I think I'm going to do more of these if you dig them, because any excuse I have to get out of the studio and get on my bike, especially now that it's cooled down a bit, the better. So I may take you guys along on my little biking journeys, but oh my god, what is this? Devil darlings, where have I taken myself? Oh my, Fuji Spa Oriental massage. Uh-oh. Another one. What is this place? Somehow I highly doubt they're giving massages in there. At least not the traditional type. Alright, well, on that note, I'm going to try and figure out where my home is. But I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks so much. Woo-hoo! Woo! Back home!